that is the package that must be delivered to your people in our time and in this country. So mighty God, bless us all and help us as we go through this very important session. And as we all unite, one time one patintin, people are gata by reciting again. It's a prayer with Jesus and we teach him all disciples belongan, or time belongan. Our Father, which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us our trespasses, as
we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and glory, forever and ever. Amen. Honourable members, I have to inform the Parliament of the following death of Mr. Ken Feweda on 24 October 2022. He was first elected as member for Sumkar Open Electorate in the 8th National Parliament from 2007 to 2012 and re-elected to the same seat in the 9th National Parliament from 2012 to 2017. During those terms, he served as Deputy Chairman of Plans and Estimate Committee and Chairman of Parliamentary Referral Committee on Transport and Civil Aviation on 18 September 2007 and was appointed Minister for Housing and Urban Development on 5th August 2011. He was appointed Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee in August 2012. B. Mr. Stephen Mambon on 25th October 2022. He was elected as member for Makam Open Electorate in the 4th National Parliament from 1987 to 1992. C. Mr. Paul Ezekiel on 6 November 2022. He was elected as member for Makam Open Electorate in the 9th National Parliament from 2012 to 2017. During the term, he served as Minister for Housing and Urban Development following the formation of the O'Neill Dion government from 2012 to 2017. As a mark of respect to the memory of the late honourable gentleman, I invite all honourable members to rise from their places. I thank the Parliament. Any petitions? Notices? Honourable members, question time. The Honourable Member for North Fly.
Deputy Speaker, thank you long look sawe lo people lo North Fly. Askim lo mi no talk sawe. Emi golo Minister lo SOE long side lo recent checking long MD lo octedi mai. Me sanab lo has recent and North Fly, Western Province people, only part and partial blow octedi mine. na only shareholder blow mine too. Na mibla like sawe, he got sambla asua been come up behind only sekim MD blow octary mine. So ask him blow me go guy. Minister ina blow confirm him. This Dr. blow only sekim current MD blow octary mine. Story come out on Friday last week. Now weekend he come now today Tuesday. So can he confirm or deny the sacking of the current MD? Number 2 question. Enough lawyer me talking Mipla as reason why this MD only sacking. Na one aswa making. So Mipla by Sawe. Number 3. Mipla Sawe also Temblo current MD, and we still got 6 more months to be before and by expire. Now, Mipla had him the reliable sources or some, got board meeting been come up long Rosimem. Now, blame confirm this talk top or some board sekim, but they got some month or some asua come up long sekim. So confirm him this too, so that Mipla Basawe, Namibla can inform him, or shareholders, or people believe me province, that Papua too can sawe, long clarify this la rumors come up, or this story is place clear. Thank you, through Deputy Speaker.
Minister for SOE.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to acknowledge the member for not flying his important questions. Before I respond to the 3 questions, I'd like to outline a few important things. First, we must all understand that Octary Mining Limited is a company that is owned ultimately by the government and the landowners for the people, but it is managed by a competent board led by a chairman and other directors. So either the Prime Minister or myself or even any other ministers have no direct control over the operational and management matters of this very important mining asset we have in the country. Secondly, any CEO or MD of a company, his performance and continued employment depends upon, Mr. Speaker, depends upon his continued performance and meeting of set budget frameworks, operational plans, and expectations of the board of directors and, of course, ultimately the shareholder. So no one in this country, even ourselves, are indispensable. We have 5-year contract with our people. We go back for them to renew them. So just like that, on a similar principle, any CEO or anyone for that matter who is employed in a position, his continued tenure is dependent upon his or her performance. So in the case of our good MD for Octary Mining Limited, I can say that these are board and management matters. In fact, this is actually the second time I'm hearing that the good MD has been terminated. Well, of course, under his contract of employment, the power to terminate his employment rests with his employer, who is a company managed by or overseen by the chairman and the directors of the board. So the board has the power to sack or to allow a particular person to continue in his or her employment, and that is guided by a contract of employment that is normally signed by an MD. So all those matters are operational and management matters which I am not privy to. So I cannot confirm or deny whether the good gentleman has been terminated or not, because these are management matters, and I have not received any formal advice as the trustee shareholders delegate of this event happening. So this is news to me. The proper venue for us to find out whether this happened or not is to check with the chairman and the directors of that company. So to answer his question, I am not aware of this, and I cannot confirm or deny that he was terminated. He may have been terminated, he may not have been terminated, but those are operational and management matters where I am not privy to. but I can find out from the chairman. So it then follows that I cannot tell this parliament why he was terminated, because I do not know whether he was terminated. This may be rumors, so I can check and then let the good member know. And lastly, to answer his question, I am not sure whether a board meeting was held or not. Meetings are held periodically according to their own schedules, and this again management matters. So I am not privy to when the board meetings are normally held. So those are, Mr. Speaker, are my questions, and I'd like to thank the good member for asking them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Pomio.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Health and the Minister of Finance to take note, please. We know that the medical supplies, the procurement and supplies distribution is very, very important as part of our public health system in our country. With the recent media reports that said that some of the 100% test kits were rotting away. This is very, very, it's a very important matter that must be addressed properly by the Department of Health. Question Loimi and Bolsema can the Minister confirm this particular issue? What are the reasons? What has led to the 100% the medical kits rotting away? Is this to do with the logistics companies or not? Can the Minister clarify as well? Does the Department of Health, as a system of reporting with regard to medical, the logistics companies that are supplying distributing medical supplies in our country, do they give a report and whether their performance is okay, is or not? I'm more questioning the Minister of Health. It's an important matter. It's in the media reports where people need to know what is regarding the issue with regard to medical supplies rotting away in the country. Thank you.
The Honourable Minister for Health.
Thank you, Speaker, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Shadow Health Minister, Honourable Les Kapovori, and a good leader for PNC for asking me this important question. Firstly, the media is actually, they've actually sensationalized the issue that we had. The delivery of medicines, especially the 100% kit that the health department does, are using a system called a push system. So it's actually done not based on the needs at the distal health centers. What it actually does is just based on the previous reports that they get. They usually compile a set of medicines and medical equipment that they usually push towards the health facilities. So what actually happened, I will just make it brief and short. What basically happened was the procurement system took almost 5 months to deliver. The procurement system almost took 5 months to deliver. When they advertised that thing on paper, it actually happened on the 21st of January 2022. And finally, when the signed contract, when it reached the health department, it reached it at the health department on the 1st of August 2022. So you can see there's about 6 months that lapsed. And that is the cumbersome process that we have within the NPC. So basically, from Cabinet, all of us know that when we give out the contracts to that drug distributing company, they usually do, it's based on, from experience, they usually do advanced procurement of medicines because warrants are not released on time and the medicines actually arrive early. But when we give out the logistics contract, it takes another 6 months. So therein lies the delay, number one. Number two,
Post Korea actually took a picture of 2 containers that belonged to the drugs supplying company. They were empty containers that were sitting in the wharf, and there were no real containers that contained medicine. What actually happens is that when the drug procurement company, when it actually supplies the drug, it supplies it to the drug distribution company, the logistics company. It doesn't go to the area medical store. It goes straight to the logistic company. So when the contract was put out, the technical financial evaluation committee, they sat and they deliberated on those, the companies that applied. And they gave recommendations, but the recommendations were not followed by NPC. So NPC decided to choose some other companies that they thought were eligible, and contracts were given to those companies. Now, the other delay that happened was that those companies never had the financial capacity. So state solicitors actually put a clause into every contract that there must be a down deposit, a bank guarantee of 10%. Because a lot of other logistics companies, when they get the first payment, the initial payment made by the government, they actually, take off with the payment and they don't deliver. So one of the things that, the State Sol, in his wisdom, decided to put into clauses is the bank guarantee, the 10% down payment, and that was not done too. So therein lies the delay. It has nothing to do with the health department. The contract reached the office of the health secretary on the 1st of August, and the contracts were actually paid. But then there was another delay that happened because the companies could not, comply with their contract by putting in the 10% bank deposit that they had to do. So anyway, we know that, the process there at the NPC is quite cumbersome, and therein lies the problem. We have actually summoned our pharmaceutical services standard branch of the National Health Department to look into the discoloration of the Panadol. And what actually they will do is they will go backtrack the procurement system, and they will find when the drugs were actually procured, how long they were stored, and how long it took for the drugs to be actually distributed to our area medical stores. So those reports will be provided as soon as they are done and ready, Mr. Speaker. So one of the other things I want to raise at the same setting is that we must know that, drugs are very essential things that need to be procured on time. Now, as a government, it's quite difficult because of cash flow issues sometimes, because of the NPC system we have, because of companies that are supposed to deliver. So, it's all myriad of problems that actually result in the delay that we had. So one of the things we're trying to do, and I thank the good Prime Minister, is to set up a separate procurement commission for drugs so that we have to deliver drugs on a timely basis because time is of essence. So based on the PAC recommendations being done, work has already started. We've started a secretariat that looks at it. And what it will do is it's working in collaboration with some of our very important development partners like ADB and others to come up with a system and model that can deliver our drugs on a timely basis. So thank you very much. When the full report becomes available, I will present it on the floor of Parliament. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Governor for NCD.
Deputy Speaker, giving me two. By me put him picture or context belonging question first time, but question you go along Minister belong State Enterprise. And question below me is about BSP. You may get a member, you may got plenty complaint along BSP. You play it, sorry. Public to all complain lo kind issue lo BSP rule na fees na kind. Lo Parliament, you may member, you may escalating this complaint below you, I think you go to treasurer. A treasurer try long, controlling more, talk to rule of central bank. But Mr. Deputy Speaker, one way you may get escalating complaint below you may go to BSP is through the board. So question below me go to Minister in Muslim. State them you may get equity lo BSP. I think one time MVIL, together I think you may get 21% or 25%. So ask him, Muslim, When I'm logic now, you may look at state representative long BSP board. Enough you may understand him this logic, rational long him. Now suppose you know got good plan, rational or purpose or meaning long him. Then enough you may government marking one representative lo you may maybe minister yet or one representative lo minister go establish board so that you may all member you may get complain. People all ministers do get complain. All ordinary people do get complain about BSP. You may can put in a representative lo you may representing equity below state na below people inside of BSP. Otherwise now Deputy Speaker and BSP and no got control long it. Minister must beg him to also. Usa di waklo make him this policy na rule below BSP now. Hem kan lo interest below usat. You mean majority shareholder or minority shareholder? Usat shareholder? Hem question me believe you may get a member of parliament you may got. Me tight me go by go plenty here. So thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Minister, was that enterprise?
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I'd like to thank the Governor of National Capital District for this very important question. This is not the first time it has been raised, not in Parliament but on other venues. But it's an issue that KCH, as the majority shareholder of BSP, has been raising numerous times in the past. And the reason that was given by the bank was that because it was a commercial bank and the bank was in the process of expanding to other parts or other countries in this region, there was this element of PNG government influence or involvement at the board level, so they wanted to ensure that that issue was dealt with at that time. So the issue of having representatives from the major shareholder on the board was then put aside for the time being. Again, I can tell this Parliament, I personally raised this issue myself with the chairman of the bank, and when I raised that issue, I was also told that they wanted to list on the Australian Stock Exchange. And again, the issue of government presence on the share register was thought to be of some hindrance to whoever wanted to invest, or those were left behind. But now that the bank has expanded to other parts of the Asia-Pacific region, and now that the bank has already been listed on the Australian Stock Exchange, I personally feel that it is appropriate and the time is now right for me to be able to raise the issue of board representation on that board. So I will seek to do that and then report to Parliament. Secondly, on the issue of the fees that are being charged by the bank, these are beyond the control of any major shareholder. These are regulatory matters that are within the province of the Bank of PNG, so we should all raise it with the Bank of PNG. So I want to thank the Governor for this important question. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary, Governor Morobe.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I want to raise a supplementary question to the Minister for Government Enterprise, State Enterprise. Minister, we appreciate the good work that the bank is doing in providing the banking service to the people of this country. We appreciate that. And we also accept and appreciate that we own that bank. We're the majority shareholders of that bank. But I want to ask a question. The question is in relation to the long lines that we have in the bank. If you come early in the morning at the working days on Monday to Friday, or even on Saturday, in the city of Lae, you would see a long line, and that long line, the customer's long line, does not commence at 8 o'clock, but it commences as early as 3 o'clock in the morning. They come early, they walk. How they come, I don't know, but they come because they want to get the service from the bank. And there's a very long line. And for me, I said, long man no sanapia, long man bank. Can they come up? We've now gone into high technology. And the bank should be able to devise a system in which to remedy that problem of long lines. Sometimes the people can get killed because the line extends to the road.
Honorable Governor, we have a point of order.
So I'm asking the question.
Honorable Governor.
Question time, so ask him to ask the supplementary question.
Honorable Member, your point of order is in order. Governor, we'll go straight to your
Yeah,
question.
well, ask the question. I have to put the circumstances in which gives rights to this question. I can't just fire the question. Intelligence must come into play, my friend. So, yeah, context and intelligence. So, Mr. Minister, can I respectfully ask you to deal with the management? Ask them if they can come up with a system to make sure they remedy the long lines we see every day, working day, most particularly in the city of Leh. Thank you, Mr. Minister. And Mr. Speaker, thank you.
The Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I also want to thank the good Governor of Murray for this question. The first question that was raised earlier together, these also in many respects regulating matters that can be regulated by the Bank of PNG, but I will raise them at my level with the chairman of the Bank of South Pacific, and it's not a good sign for all of us to see our people lining up in very long queues all over the country. And it is up to the bank, Mr. Speaker, to build infrastructure if they have to build additional branches in our cities to be able to deal with them. But those are matters that I will raise it with the chairman of the Bank of PNG, and I'd like to also thank the governor for raising this very important question. I want to also use this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to announce to this Parliament that the Marabe Rosso government has made a decision to apply for and establish another commercial bank in this country. If we take the example of smaller countries like Fiji, Mr. Speaker, they have more than 8 different commercial banks operating there. And in a country of more than 10 million people, this country needs more banks. And when you take into account the effect that ANZ Bank and Westpac are downsizing their operations, and they don't seem to be keen in expanding their presence to other more remote areas and having presence there, it is incumbent upon all of us as leaders to seek to establish another bank. If we see that the existing banks, such as BSP, are not providing the service that our people need. Many of our people, Mr. Speaker, are unbanked. And because of the conduct of BSP in charging fees after fees, even to make mere withdrawals, it is incumbent upon a national government, a responsible government, to set another bank. And I can announce that the Cabinet has already approved in principle for a new commercial bank to be established, to be called the National Banking Corporation. Under our leadership, under the leadership of our Prime Minister, we have done all the work, and we are now 85% through. And before the end of next year, this country should have another fully fledged commercial bank, which will hopefully deal with some of the concerns we have been raising, and hopefully reach all over the country to even the remote areas. A bank that will hopefully replace what PNGBC was doing in the past. So, Mr. Speaker, I can confidently say that with the support and encouragement of our Prime Minister, we have worked very, very hard, and we will soon see our own another bank to serve our people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Governor for Madang.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Look so the people of Madang. Mr. Deputy Speaker, my series of questions is directed to the Minister for Mining, and I'd like the Prime Minister to take note. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I come from a mining province. My series of questions relates to the Ramon Nickel and Cobalt mining in Madang province, which is managed and operated by the Ramon Nickel Management Limited. Mr. Deputy Speaker, my first series of questions relates to the review of Memorandum of Agreement, or MOA, relating to Ramu Nickel cobalt mining in Madang Province. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the MOA is reviewed every 5 years since the mining commenced in 2000. The last review was done in 2013, which expired in 2018. Mr. Deputy Speaker, since being appointed as Minister for Mining in the Maraperoso government, were you being briefed of and are now aware of the expiry of the MOA in 2018, and Ramu Nickel cobalt mining has been going on and operating for the last 4 years without a MOA? Legally speaking, Mr. Speaker, the Ramu Nickel cobalt mining was and is unlawfully in operation for 4 consecutive years now and running. In other words, there is no legally binding memorandum of agreement between the stakeholders for 4 consecutive years. My first question is, Mr. Deputy Speaker, can the Minister for Mining confirm to the people of Madang through this House that he had received my letter dated 1st of November 2022 requesting him to immediately sanction a review of the MOA within 14 days? My second question is, Mr. Speaker, can the Minister of Mining inform the people of Madang through this House if he has any plans to conduct a review of the MOA before the end of this year? Mr. Speaker, my second series of questions relates to the payment of development levy by a developer of natural resources in this country pursuant to Section 98 of the Organic Law on Provincial and Local Level Government. Mr. Deputy Speaker, it is mandatory by Section 98 of the Organic Law on Provincial and Local Level Government that a developer of a natural resources shall pay out of his own cost development levy to the affected provincial and local level governments. Thus, the same law also provides that an act of parliament shall be enacted to cater for the rates to which the development levies shall be paid, the management of it, the sharing arrangement between the affected provincial government and the local level governments, and the application of the funds. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I am aware that for the development of petroleum resources like oil and gas, the Oil and Gas Act caters for that, and this has been incorporated into the benefit sharing agreements, resulting in the developer of the PNG LNG now paying development levies annually to the affected provincial government and local level governments. Mr. Speaker, I am also aware that in the logging industry, developers pay development levies in the form of log export development levy to the provincial and local level governments. My question is, Mr. Speaker, can the Minister for Mining inform this House why there is no provision in the Mining Act 1992 regarding the rates at which the development levy will be paid, the management of it, the sharing arrangement between the affected provincial and local level governments, and the application of the funds as dictated by Section 98 of the Organic Law on Provincial and Local Level Government? My second question is, Mr. Speaker, can the Minister for Mining confirm to this House that the non-adherence or compliance of Section 98 of the Organic Law on Provincial and Local Level Government by the Mining Act 1992 is a serious constitutional breach? And if so, can the Minister act in rectifying it immediately? Mr. Deputy Speaker, my last series of questions concerns the illegal mine of chromite by the developer Ramon Nicol. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the mining lease granted to Ramon Nicol Management Limited was only to mine the nickel and cobalt and no other minerals. Mr. Deputy Speaker, it has come to my attention and knowledge that the Ramon Nicol Management Limited has been extracting chromite as well as nickel and cobalt. Since chromite is a highly corrosive material, it has not been piped down from Krumbukare to Basamuk in Ragos. Chromite had been mined since the commencement of the mining and has been transported to Leh from Krumbukare in Madang and shipped to China without any detection by the authorities. Mr. Deputy Speaker, hundreds of millions of kina had been made by this illegal mining of chromite. My question is, Mr. Deputy Speaker, is the Minister for Mining aware of this illegal mining of chromite by the Ramon Nicol Management Limited? Secondly, Mr. Deputy Speaker, can the Minister also assure this House and the people of Madang that such illegality will be addressed immediately and rectified? Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
The Honourable Minister for Mining.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Thank you for this very long, detailed, and substantive question. Mr. Speaker, this question deserves a very good reply, substantive reply, because the people of Madang want to be, are interested in hearing the substance and the details of this question. I will therefore ask, Mr. Speaker, that the question be put on notice so that it can be answered properly with all those important issues that have been raised. I want to answer them properly. And the only way I can properly answer them is go through with my department, with the experts who has got the historical or institutional memory of what has happened in the past, so that we can sit down and provide a proper answer that I can give to the member, who will then provide it to his people. But generally, Mr. Speaker, there has been questions raised about this mine many times, and there has been allegations about the illegal or improper practices that the member has raised. Mr. Speaker, I have also been aware of those questions in general, but I have not had the opportunity to look at them in detail. So I would like to ask the member to put those questions on notice paper so that I can answer them properly. But, Mr. Speaker, before I sit down, I also want to point out that questions like this are important questions, and they deserve to be answered properly. They need to be given the justice they deserve. So I would also suggest to you, Mr. Speaker, that you look at changing the rules of questions on the floor of this Parliament. Questions of this nature must be given notice of at least one day, so that ministers on the floor of Parliament can do some preparations and answer them, because we are not supermen. We must be prepared to answer these questions. Sometimes we bring very important questions on the floor of Parliament, and we are not in a position to give the detailed answers. So, Mr. Speaker, I would suggest that you look at, you and your Speaker, Mr. Acting Speaker, you look at with the Speaker and provide a procedure under which important technical questions like this can be given to you a day before they are asked on the floor of Parliament, so that all of us, all the ministers, can give it to our departments and they can provide the answers, and we can then provide it on the floor of Parliament. Because every time you're asking important questions like this, your people are hearing it throughout the world and hearing it in their own villages, but it is going worldwide. So the answer must also be properly prepared so that the people can hear the substantive and the real answers to the questions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Miduramu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Look, long all people belong Miduramu na giving me this time. Me talk thank you long. God also, I mean give him good day long. You mean leader kambung long this day. Thank you. Me got one politically question so long me by asking. This question blow me by go long. Minister for Works. Okay, me like him Minister for Defense. One time Prime Minister can take note. Number one question. Me tok lo road blow me long. Miduramu. Madeng Baya. Mission Link Road. Block connect PNC. This road I been start long time na all people belong Miduramu are mosem. Road by connect him. Madeng na Baya. Na this road I take him long time. And I stop also all people accept him, expect him mosem road by connect. All stop long time na 47 years me play sleep long bush na. Me play wait him this road tas road no connect. Display me a question below me go works minister also. Display road me connect injure lo mission link or no gat. Na all defense been walking display road long and emi stop also. Me like him display question below me go long works minister also. To blah been defense minister want him to play talk long. Display road must go long one block project. Construction company can make him display road area na all people blow me can look him light. 47 years me sleep lo tutak na me no like him display road by stop also. The one question blow me. I'm going to display. Number two, me like him display road defense minister. He must release him go. Na road blow me can operate area. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
Minister for Works.
Thank you, Member of Miduramu. This road, Blue Law, Merengolo Baya, one play important road. Now it's been much talked about. Now this road, all defense force have been all giving along. All defense force, he work close to 8 years. Na me at staff defense minister, me golo Miduramu. Na me look him all work, he work lo come up lo Miduramu. Na come stop. Na this program lo me plan now, this government, me spearhead him connect PNC program. When now me go inside na come up minister lo works, this road. Me been writing up in this lo defense minister lo release him come lo works. Now works by tendering, procuring tendering na by me blagi mo lo contractor. Long starting this road lo mereng kam lo Baya. So me writing up in this lo defense minister. Na me waiting him long acknowledge him this letter na by right lo me na by release him this road officially. Time me release him now by me put him underneath lo connect PNC. Also missing link. Long starting this program next year. Lo budget pa me blai tender him this road. Lo Baya golo Ramu na golo mereng. Yamba me blai starting this road. So this road blow you. Mr. Manani lo connect PNC na Mr. lo missing link. Na me right finish lo defense lo lose him. Because 8 years ago finish defense progress na this road come up. So I'm good lo me bla works ikisim, works na highways ikisim na puti anay lo missing link. Na me bla tender him, na give him lo contractor, na ba isi lo road must go hurry up. Also I'm thinking you leader I got long end. So me defense minister na me fully aware of this road. So me go inside me start lo working this progress. So me wait him. Colleague minister lo me defense minister lo
Bekim Beks la pass na release him road now. Then next year, by me apply start him explore road blue. Put lo tenda na start him. Anay lo missing link. So atin em display the sol again. Talking me also. So me apply lose him display road them. Stawanay lo missing link na connect PNC. So important road. So this road em go. By linking Jimmy. Na iga plant ro hap lo display hap. Good pla value sem Ramu value em stop. Iga tol economic potential em stop lo display road. Display hap. All plant man meri lo display hap. Na even also em to shortcut. Instead lo mering kamo sem long Ramu na bien kamandala Highlands Highway. You cut shortcut straight bayana kamla Highlands Highway. So display em one bla priority lo display government. Lo puti mana lo missing link na pambla start long. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
The Honourable Minister, we won't allow you to. The question is raised to the Minister for Work, so the Minister for Work is the response to that. So I cannot. Honourable Minister, I will not allow you to answer this question. The question is raised to the Minister for Works, and he has responded to that question. I mean, another minister cannot answer the question raised to, so. Honourable Minister, I would ask you to resume your seat. Honourable Minister, you resume your seat. Honourable Minister, member for Kairuku.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank you, Luksave, people of Kairuku. I think the last two sessions, maybe in Chanap, but Luksave, me talk thank you, now. The first time in Chanap, this la tem, so me like to thank you, people of Kairuku Hiri, Salem me come lo Parliament two time, and now people of Kairuku Salem me come first time. Legally, Aswa, where Kairuku people got the master along Erima, lo Eliseo shopping center, one play youth Lomi, lo Kairuku, actually from Ipiana village. Come marketing produce, and I'm like buying tissue, and go place, was stabbed unnecessarily and innocently along Erima shopping complex. So question blow me and me Salim go lo usat minister blow immigration. Also ministry blow na government he got plan long addressing this la issue long. All man no can move nothing lo this country.
Okay, honourable member, I would ask you to receive your question. You will ask your question. I think you will direct your question now to the Prime Minister. Since the Minister for will you direct your question to the Minister for Internal Security?
He wants to take note, but it's okay. I'll direct it.
Yeah, because we have. I just want to get clarification maybe from the Prime Minister in absence of the Immigration Minister. Is that?
Immigration.
Honourable member, in advice, you will ask your question to the Minister for Internal Security. Since then, it is a security matter within the country. Your question will be asked to the Internal Security Minister. So you can continue, ask your question.
Deputy Speaker, my question was framed for the Minister for Immigration to answer because internal security is a short-term issue. Of course, issue come up long and it's a law and order matter. So a policeman long he work law investigate. But how do we solve this problem? And question below me. No good. You mean no solving problem? You mean shortcut?
Honourable member, I understand the acting Minister for Immigration is the Deputy Prime Minister, and your question will be answered by him. Continue.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Question below me long. Good acting Immigration Minister, I'm also. Government got plan long sorting out this issue of mass migration, all get a hap long country. I think he want like cost long, all get a social upheaval long country stuff. So going into the future as a government, but you mean look strong law this plan. Legislating some strong plan, thinking in a law where you may restrict them legally movement blow people. Yes, people they got freedom law moving about, but I think you may allowing too much freedom now kind problem come up law country stuff. Also mute blow me as stay. He's earmarked to take part in the Kairuku Labour Mobility Program in Australia. And he lost his life innocently. So, you know, it's a wake-up call for us as a country. So how do we address this issue? He got planned long. I think long. Some time ago, Pinny's Governor Powers, he asked long internal visa system. Mipla sampla lo provincial government lo mipla oklo suggest him or inter-border, provincial border posts. Where none lo connect PNG, I think government too must put him up border posts along all get a provincial borders. Now Wasman stop now, check him all man who said move nothing, low inter-province too. Also ask him where acting minister responsible, Nagudla Deputy Prime Minister can shed some light long people of Papua New Guinea. I also want our good Minister for Internal Security to take note that it's a law and order issue and if it can be dealt with right away. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And I'd like to thank the good member for Kairuku Hiri on his very important question. And before I answer, I'd like to also offer my condolences on the harm and death that came to Lord Line Blue. Ino gutla when or Line Blue mix your kind bagaraposem. I'd also like to take this time. Immigration is actually for external, come inside from outside countries, so it's not really anything to do with our internal migration, as we currently don't have laws that from one province restricting control from one to the other. But I will take this time to reply in my capacity as a Deputy Prime Minister. You've got a big problem that's affecting a lot of us in our urban centers. The rural urban drift, it come inside. Now we as a responsible government, you will notice this year that law and order issues surrounding our country has escalated, and we will be trying our best, and it will be reflected in the budget to ensure that we try to address these problems. We are also looking at ways of reintroducing the Vagrancy Act to try to restrict people from moving to urban centers. Part of the other issues also is making certain our NID system is issued to all our citizens, a better NID system, so the police too can have records and track people moving or migrating to our urban centers. So these things combined with, as you quite rightfully suggested, border posts into our cities, so they can check the movement of people and see whether they're there for good purpose or bad purpose. It also comes into the Safe Cities programs that I think Governor Pakop is now doing, and also similar to my city in Leh, where we will try to see where we can have cameras, making certain the movement of people are controlled. But like in any other growing country, we have these major social issues. So we're trying to address them, and we'll ensure that in this session for the next year's budget, that the law and order situation becomes our #1 priority, as we have always said. So I will ask for the support of each and every member of parliament that when the budget comes here, that we ensure that law and order receives one of our biggest slices and becomes a priority for all of us. Not just law and order, we're looking at our justice systems, our CIS, a comprehensive overlook on all our law and order issues. Because as a country, without law and order, we will be nothing. So rest assured, my
good member for Karikuhiri. I will do my best in my capacity as a Deputy PM to assist the Internal Affairs Minister to try to rectify this. Thank you, Through.
Honourable members, our question time has lapsed. Minister for Works.
Mr. Speaker, I asked leave of the Parliament to move a motion without notice.
Is leave granted? Explain your motion. Oh, go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I move that leave of absence be granted to Sir Julia Chain, MP for the duration of this meeting due to ill health.
Honourable members, the question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Minister for Works.
Mr. Speaker, I ask leave of the Parliament to move a motion without notice.
Is the leave granted?
Mr. Speaker, I move that in accordance with Section 81BI of the National Research Institute Act, Mr. Alan Baird and Mr. Sam Basil Jr. be appointed member of the National Research Institute Council.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, I do now adjourn the Parliament to 10 a.m. tomorrow. I move that the Parliament be adjourned to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Honourable members, I now adjourn Parliament to tomorrow 10 o'clock a.m.